don't have proper equipment for my camera to like stand up like this, so I thought this is such a personal channel, may as well film on my phone anyway, easier to edit, all that. So I was meant to spend all day filming this video, which is, well, it was gonna be called like spending a day with God, something along those lines. And I've actually planned to do this for a couple years now, just shut myself in a room for a day and to basically just do devotionals all day, listen to Christian music, etc. And basically right now I'm in self-isolation, and so I'm holed up in my room, and I'm also addicted to rereading the Harry Potter series at the moment. So it's actually the late afternoon, and I'm just thinking maybe for the first time today I will properly get out of bed and shower, clean my desk, and actually get started on this video. So I don't really know what approach I'm going to take to the devotionals. I'll probably start out with just showing you guys what I actually do or try to on a daily basis. Actually, in the past few months, I've only done devotionals properly, fully through once. I'm not about being fake, and I don't like to pretend that I'm like an amazing Christian or anything. That's probably the longest I've gone without doing proper devotionals, so it was really nice to get back into it, but I still haven't gotten into it routine-wise. So I had to think about it in the shower, and because my original idea really had no direction and probably would have been just me writing with background music, I was thinking that instead of doing a day dedicated to God where I was going to like put away my phone and everything and whatever, I'm thinking maybe this would be some kind of guide on like how I do my daily devotionals, just because it might help some people. I'll just take you through what I've done, and I know that I just said for the past few months I haven't even been doing it, so this might seem a little bit like unjustified, but it is something that I think helps me in my relationship with God and to be close to Him. There are many reasons why I didn't do my devotionals for a few months. One of them is that I got so busy during the holidays, everything just kind of drowned it out because I rely heavily on routine, aka uni. So as soon as that ended, I kind of just went all over the place, and I was not just disorganized in devos but also disorganized in other parts of life. So first things first, to explain to any non-Christian or confused friends about what devos are. So devos is basically any time you spend with God, and it can be daily, weekly, monthly. It's just to ensure that you have a personal relationship with God, because if you think about it, every time else you would be spending time with God is in a communal setting, which is great, but you would be a church, a conference, Christian society at your school or uni, and those are really good and good to join. But also you need to cultivate a one-on-one relationship with God, because otherwise like you probably just don't really know as much about God as you think, I guess. And yeah, different people grew up differently, even in the Christian community. So some people have devos emphasized to them more than others. Like some people just don't really see the point in it, but other people like do it like religiously every single day. So there's like, I guess the way that I take it is just that I try to do it daily, but if I don't, it's not like God's gonna punish me or anything. Like being a Christian is not to do with how many times you read the Bible in a day or whatever. So yeah, this is just what I try to do. If I don't have time to do it, I don't beat myself up about it. If I'm demotivated, I try and get motivated again, even if it takes a while. So yeah, there's just so many different facets to it. So I keep all of my things in this pile that I have on my desk, and mine does not only consist of faith-based devotional but also just some personal reflection time for myself, because I have said before on this channel I am I am not a naturally reflective person. So in order to help me think about my actions of recent times, I just like to write about them and think about them. Otherwise, I'm the kind of person who's really fast, and I just like to move forward with things, which is good, but also it's good to think about your past sometimes, and just to think about things you could be improving on or working on. So basically, I have a notebook, and I am always, like, what I do with my notebooks is that I actually put it into a box that's behind me. And I don't do this often, but I do this when I have spare time, which is rare obviously, but I type up everything I've written in notebooks. So I have 2 Google documents. One is called Journal, which is self-explanatory. The other one's called Growth, which is to do with my Christian walk or anything kind of philosophical or motivational in there. And so that way I can actually chuck my notebooks away after I've typed them up. So that's something I've always loved to do, because that box is so full right now, and I have done it a few times in my life, but yeah, there's so many that are just bulging in that box. Then I have my Bible, and then I have my current devotional book. So I know I call this entire thing devotionals, but my devotional book is like a Christian book separate from the Bible that Christian authors have written, and they have different layouts depending on the book. But this current one I'm doing is My Rock, My Refuge by a famous author called Tim Keller. And then I have one more called The Journal from Kmart. So this is how I do my firstly personal reflection kind of time. So I actually start off with just questions that I can ask myself. At first, when I started doing this, I was getting questions from a website or from Instagram journaling pages. And then I discovered this. So it's called The Journal, and the subheading is Connect with Your Soul Purpose. And basically this is a secular book, so it's not to do with Christianity, but it just helps me to think about different things. Like, it has a different question every day, and I'm sure most people have seen this kind of thing in shops. But for example, the last thing I answered was, what do you want out of life? And then I had to list and write about 10 things. There's write about a time you defended someone. What does this quote here mean to you? Have you ever felt like a victim? When did someone stand in your way? Describe someone who's brave enough to tell their story. What are 5 things that went well today? How do you handle pressures? What inspires you? A bunch of questions like that. So not to do with my faith, but to do with myself, and just to get to know myself better, or to reflect on something random. So I just thought that these kinds of journals were really cool, and I decided to, I guess, ease into my devos by starting off with that. And then the next thing I do is I get both my devotional book and my notebook. And so the current one I'm doing is actually one devotional a day. Like, it actually has, today is January 5th or 6th or something, a Bible passage, and then it has a description about the Bible passage, and then it has a prayer section. I just go through all of it and I write notes, and then I also pray the prayer at the end. These are what my notes look like literally just like dot points. I forgot that in between the first reflection and that devotional, I actually journal. So I do an actual journal entry, but I often forget about it because for me, that takes up the most emotional and mentally draining place, just because, as I said, reflection doesn't come easy to me. So to be able to, for me to have to like tap into my mind like that is like pretty exhausting. So I sometimes forget because my brain just kind of like skips it all together. But yeah, that's what I do as well. So like, I'll journal also in this notebook, and that would be just about my day and how I'm feeling. And then after that, I go through a Bible passage. So I just started Amos, and I don't actually do chapter by chapter. I only do stanza by stanza, which a lot of people might think is a bit too little, but I feel like it does like just help me break up the passage in some ways. And like, yeah, it is good to like read huge chunks sometimes just to get the full picture, but because I have so much more to my devotionals, I like to keep it short and sweet. And I'll also write notes on that, or at least like a summary kind of paragraph, like a couple sentences. And then after that, I gather the main points that I took from all those sections, write them into prayer points, and write down any other extra prayer points that I have into the notebook again. And then that's it. As you can see, it really is what you make of it, as long as you're spending time with God and also expanding your love for and your knowledge of Him. I don't think there's any right way to go about it. I'm gonna actually do it now. And then after that, I'll get back to Harry Potter.